Listen, in 20 years, won't do an interview. Nobody's ever talked to her, and she's never been interviewed anywhere. And now, understand, I'm not talking about one person. What I just told you applies to 7 people. How they all end up with that. That's part of what you get. I came in this business saying I was going to expose. When I talked about Michael Jackson, when I talked about R. Kelly, they canceled me for these things because why would you talk about another black dude? Race is not where the line is drawn. It's God's side and the other side. And we don't care nothing about the other side. Period. All of these big dick deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is. TG Jakes, any of them. All lies will be exposed. That's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way, know why they take it the wrong way.
This caught everyone off guard. No one expected this, but now it's out in the open. Katt Williams has thrown a match straight into the middle of an already heated conversation. What people once whispered behind closed doors has suddenly moved front and center, and the timing couldn't be more intense. 7 high-profile names were quietly removed from Netflix's Diddy documentary. These weren't background figures or minor appearances. These were major celebrities with serious influence. And according to Katt Williams, this outcome was predicted months ago. Now, the pieces are lining up fast. This isn't random coincidence. It's patterns unfolding in real time. Katt Williams has officially stepped into the Netflix documentary controversy, and he didn't mince words. He questioned 50 Cent's role in the project, suggesting that some individuals were deliberately shielded, while others were left exposed. According to Katt, the final cut wasn't purely about telling the full story. It was about protection. When Katt went on Club Shay Shay and said, "All lies will be exposed," many people laughed it off. But now that comment feels less like comedy and more like a warning. What he hinted at back then is beginning to surface piece by piece. In this video, we're breaking down the 7 names reportedly removed from the documentary, based on public commentary and Katt Williams' own statements. We'll explore why these figures may have been kept off camera, how Katt appeared to anticipate these moves, and why Netflix may have avoided certain connections. Behind the scenes, there are also claims that pressure and incentives played a role in shaping what audiences ultimately saw.
They just gave P. Diddy 4 years. Say that again, people. For 27 days. 4 years. Meanwhile, they tried to give me 4 years with 2 blunts I had no intention of smoking in the first place. Same 4 years. I don't give a fuck. Being an ass-picking devil worshiper is not against the law. They put that man on a whole RICO because they thought he was for China. They said, bring out the 9 cross. 9 niggas walked out. That ain't even get the law. Go on and get you savvy. That man liked this is so much as his punishment. They sent him to the place with the most. No, I ain't gonna say shit.
According to Katt, these names were never going to be shown publicly, whether through unreleased footage or careful editing. Some people exist in a category that seems untouchable. Before going further, it's important to clarify something. This discussion isn't focused on the most obvious figures who have already dominated headlines. This story goes deeper than the names everyone already expects.
Everybody knew that Snoop Dogg, not again, mentioned him in December of 2020, but everybody beat the hell out of me. Screw you, that can't be true. What the hell do I know, right? And then recently it just came out again that Snoop Dogg got accused of trafficking children. And what did everybody do? Ooh, Snoop Dogg is at the halftime. I'm going to the halftime. But we canceled Dr. Seuss and Jemima. And nobody mad. Nobody. Super Bowl had this. They were dripping down from the letters. The LVI. I know, but that's fine. It's fine. Let's go to the game. Make some hot wings. It's fine. It'll pass. It'll pass, right? It's a phase. It's just a phase. Oh no. Tell somebody that plastic straws are coming back and throw a fit. Let a convict get arrested. Somebody put a knee on a convict's neck and it's over. The neck of it out. Crickets. Crickets. Nothing. Everything's fine.
This timeline traces back to 2024, when Katt Williams sat down on Club Shay Shay and appeared to outline what would later become Diddy's public unraveling. He spoke about lifestyles carrying consequences and about truth eventually surfacing, no matter how long it's buried. Katt didn't shy away from naming powerful individuals and made it clear that those who struggle with the truth usually know exactly why. At the time, many dismissed it as provocation. But fast forward to now, and much of what Katt alluded to is unfolding in real time. Shortly after, 50 Cent produced a Netflix documentary Diddy. The Reckoning, which immediately set off alarms across the industry. The project included previously unseen material, including moments filmed shortly before Diddy's legal situation escalated, as well as behind-the-scenes discussions involving legal strategy. That's when tensions rose sharply. Diddy's legal team reportedly issued cease and desist notices, arguing that the footage was unauthorized and framing the documentary as a targeted narrative. Despite that pushback, Netflix moved forward, and that decision made the story impossible to ignore.
Thank you. Come here. Don't sit on the bed at night. No homo. No, just don't get close to the bed. Don't get close. But it's just like, yo, we want to thank you for hosting the thing, man. It's been a pleasure. You didn't have to do it, and you did it.
No. I definitely didn't have to do it. I definitely didn't have to. First and foremost, I'm not getting in the bed. Shout out to him and what he did. I'm just gonna, if we can, let's just put the camera a little this way, just so we're not. I don't want my shot to even I don't want it to come close to the bed at all. I should look like he fresh off a goddamn plane. I should.
Fresh off the guard stage. That's my brother right here from day one. We used to wake up and, pause, but like, just back in the days when he was like 10 and I was a little bit older, his older brother, we used to fight over the Frosted Flakes. You know what I'm saying? Before pause was invented. You know what I'm saying? But it's my brother for real. We used to actually wrestle off of the Frosted Flakes because he used to always get up early. Now he's one of the richest stars in the world. And
What the did Puff just say? Nobody's gonna acknowledge this for me. Puff just said we used to wrestle over the Frosted Flakes, and we're streaming live. That was stupid. Listen, that was fucking stupid. Listen,
we're having a good time, yo. Oh, your usher made it in the... Hey, yo.
I'm a thug. At the end of the day, I kill niggas, man. No, listen, at the end of the day, I kill niggas.
Why does this matter now? Diddy has already faced sentencing connected to serious criminal charges, while other allegations remain unresolved. And despite some legal outcomes, this situation is far from over.
For somebody to invite him in, hey, don't do it, okay? We all saw the movie Sinners. Don't let his here so he can bite somebody. So he can bite Playboy Cardi again, okay? Playboy Cardi definitely been bit. Something happened. Playboy Cardi's been bit. I know he has. Nobody let Kanye in. No! Tonight, I will do my part. Everybody will get flowers. I'll do my part to make sure that I put us on a high pedestal, man. Also, I'm going to do my part. I'm shutting down the idea of after parties. No after parties tonight, okay? None. Take your home after this. That's why I did it on a Monday. People got to go to work tomorrow. No after parties. That's where it's slippery at them after parties. Okay? We're learning a lot about people, ain't we? We're learning a lot. God is good all the time. Kurt, that makes it right. Whatever I just said goes away. Funny.
Reports indicate that numerous civil cases are still moving through the legal system, with some involving younger individuals. Matters authorities are handling with extreme caution. Officials have acknowledged that additional charges remain possible. What raised even more eyebrows is that prosecutors involved in Diddy's case are reportedly communicating with teams connected to the Tupac investigation, suggesting deeper layers still under review.
Hart took $50 million to unversion his whole.
Can you explain a little bit?
No, I just told you.
That alone shows how complex this situation has become. There are also claims that unreleased recordings exist, materials that, if ever made public, could implicate other well-known figures. Then Katt added fuel to the fire. He recently delivered a joke that seemed light on the surface, but to those paying attention, it carried a deeper message. It wasn't just humor, it felt like confirmation. Katt has been saying this for years. He suggested he knows what happened, who was present, and who was quietly protected while others absorbed the fallout. And now, events appear to be aligning with his long-standing warnings.
No, this is freedom paper. What's up, mate? Good morning, everybody. Good morning, baby. Marvin is back in the building. What up, Batman? What up, Mace? How you doing, boy? Better than I look. What's up, Mace? How you been, man? I'm chilling, man. All my cards still work. Just the pub doing good stuff, you know?
Yeah, every once in a while you got to do something good.
This brings us to the 7 names reportedly absent from the documentary. One of the most surprising is Snoop Dogg. That name alone caught many off guard. Snoop and Diddy have shared long-standing connections spanning decades. Business dealings, social circles, and musical collaborations. Their proximity over the years raises an obvious question. Why was Snoop entirely missing from the documentary? According to public claims made by Ollie Carter, that absence wasn't accidental. She has stated that certain figures carry far more protection within the industry. Carter first spoke publicly years ago and says she was dismissed rather than investigated. Despite this, she continued speaking out. Allegations surfaced. Discussions followed. Yet public momentum never materialized. Instead, Snoop continued to receive major public platforms and widespread praise.
Mill came out saying that he'll pay somebody $100,000 to investigate that he has nothing to do with anything with Diddy.
You can't take back what your butthole received.
Carter even pointed to symbolism she believed appeared during a major halftime performance, suggesting subtle messaging that went largely unquestioned by viewers focused on the spectacle rather than the subtext.
Real rap.
You think that audio that they put out was real?
Yeah, that was Nicki put that out there. That Nicki recorded that at the freak off in the Calabasas. She been waiting to drop that shit on me. She just wasn't gonna tell nobody it was Diddy. But now that Diddy out there, why not?
So why would 50 Cent avoid mentioning Snoop entirely? According to commentary surrounding the documentary, it's because certain names come with consequences too heavy to risk. In hip-hop culture, some figures are widely viewed as untouchable. Addressing them directly could derail an entire project before it ever reaches the public. Another name often mentioned is Kevin Hart. His public comments about the Diddy situation have been noticeably measured. Observers point out how carefully he chooses his words, never fully engaging, never fully denying. Kevin has acknowledged attending events hosted by Diddy in the past, gatherings that later became the subject of scrutiny. There's even old footage circulating online that continues to resurface whenever this conversation reignites.
Y'all, paparazzi spoke to Bieber, and all he had to say recently was that, "Don't ask me about that man ever. Some things I moved on from for my own peace." What's in that documentary? Let's just say people are finally waking up. He also goes on to say, "I was a kid. I didn't know anything. I don't ever want to talk about that again."
Kevin clearly knew exactly what kind of environment he was in. He wasn't clueless, and he definitely wasn't just passing through. He understood the room. Now here's where it gets interesting. Kevin recently hosted the BET Awards and slipped in jokes that flew over most people's heads. He joked about after parties, saying, "That's where things get slippery," then added, "We learning a lot about people, ain't we?" and followed it up with, "God is good all the time." On the surface, it sounded like typical Kevin Hart humor, but the subtext was loud. He went even further. Kevin made a point to announce there would be no after parties, and he scheduled the show on a Monday, making sure everyone had work the next day. That wasn't random. That was deliberate. That was control of the environment. Then there's Orlando Brown. Yes, Orlando has a reputation for making extreme claims, but he alleged that Kevin accepted a massive payout to completely reshape his public image. Whether people believe it or not, that claim exists, and it adds another layer to the conversation. What we do know for sure is this. Kevin has seen the darker side of the industry up close. He was present. He witnessed things. He understands how deep it goes. But today, Kevin is too successful, too valuable, and too protected to be pulled into this situation. That's why 50 Cent kept him out of the documentary. Protecting Kevin means protecting the comedy industry as a whole, and 50 wasn't about to crack that door open. Now let's talk about Maze, because this one hits different. Maze was one of Diddy's closest people during the Bad Boy Records era. He wasn't on the outside. He was at the center of everything. The music, the business, the gatherings, all of it. If anyone knows how things really move behind the scenes, it's Maze. And that's exactly where the problem starts. Maze's silence is loud and honestly suspicious. This is someone who spent years right next to Diddy, yet he barely says a word. It took Maze 10 full years to get out of his contract. And even after gaining his freedom, he still refuses to publicly criticize Diddy. That alone raises eyebrows. There's an old V103 radio interview that still makes people uncomfortable. Diddy showed up with Maze and publicly announced that Maze was finally free and able to work on his own. But Maze's reaction said everything. He looked nervous, surprised, overly thankful, almost like he didn't expect it to happen at all. Maze even said, "It took me 10 years to get this paperwork right here." That wasn't excitement. That was shock. He couldn't believe his publishing rights were actually handed back to him. Later, he joked about Diddy doing something positive, and the tone alone told a deeper story. Imagine working with someone for decades and being stunned when they finally do right by you. That moment revealed more than any interview ever could. It showed that the control didn't fully disappear, even after the paperwork was signed. So why did 50 Cent leave Maze out of the documentary? Simple. Including him would have raised uncomfortable questions. Is Maze staying quiet out of fear? Is there still influence behind the scenes? His silence alone would have forced viewers to ask what leverage might still exist. Instead of opening that door, 50 chose to leave Maze out entirely. Now we have a talk about Meek Mill, and this one gets messy fast. Meek has been around Diddy and other industry power players for years. For a long time, there were only whispers, nothing concrete. But recently, his name started popping up more frequently in conversations people weren't ready for. Orlando Brown entered the conversation again. And while he's known for extreme claims, he made a comment implying that some experiences can't be undone. The wording was wild, but the implication caught attention. Orlando has a history of calling things out early, and sometimes, uncomfortable as it is, pieces later line up. Then things got even stranger. An audio clip allegedly involving Meek Mill surfaced online, and people began claiming the second voice sounded like Diddy himself. There was no official confirmation, just speculation, but the internet ran with it. Jaguar Wright, who has spoken openly about industry secrets for years, said she believed the voice did sound like Diddy. True or not, the fact that Meek's name keeps circling these conversations explains why he didn't appear in the documentary either. That clip was disturbing and extremely damaging. It spread fast across social media, and then just as quickly, it vanished. Posts were deleted. Links stopped working. Suddenly, it was like it never existed. That alone raised serious questions. So, why did 50 Cent remove Meek Mill from the documentary? The answer is simple. That audio was never officially verified. Including unconfirmed material would have opened the door to massive legal trouble. Meek is still active, still powerful, and still well-connected. He has top-tier lawyers, serious resources, and the ability to tie Netflix up in court for years. From a business standpoint, 50 made the smart move. He avoided legal chaos rather than include something that couldn't be proven beyond doubt. Now let's talk about Justin Bieber, because this situation is very different. Justin is not framed as someone who did wrong. He's viewed as someone who was vulnerable. Justin spent time living around Diddy when he was very young, and there are old clips where Diddy openly talked about having access to Justin for a short period. Watching those videos now hits differently. Justin looks uncomfortable, unsure, and clearly out of his element. So why wasn't Justin included in the documentary? Because 50 Cent chose to protect him. Recently, paparazzi asked Justin about the documentary, and his response stopped people in their tracks. Justin said, "Don't ask me about that man ever. Some things I moved on from for my own peace." Then he added, "What's in that documentary? People are finally waking up. I was a kid. I didn't know anything. I don't ever want to talk about that again." You could hear the weight in his voice. Justin was a child. He didn't understand what was happening, and he didn't have control over where he was placed or who he was around. Including him would have meant reopening deeply personal experiences involving a minor, a line that should never be crossed. Leaving Justin out wasn't about hiding the truth. It was about not exploiting someone who is still healing. He's married now, building a stable life, protecting his peace, and he doesn't need the world reopening his pain for entertainment. That was one of the most human decisions 50 Cent could have made. Now let's move to Usher, because the story runs deep and it's heartbreaking. Usher was the first. Long before Justin Bieber, Usher lived with Diddy as a teenager at what was known as Puff's Flavor Camp. This wasn't a one-off situation. Usher was the original experiment, the first young star placed into that environment. Usher has spoken openly about seeing things at a young age that he can never forget. He's hinted for years that those experiences change him permanently. Later, he was also the one who introduced Justin Bieber to Diddy, a decision many believe he deeply regrets. So why did 50 Cent leave Usher out too? For the same reason Justin was protected. Usher is viewed as a victim, not someone who caused harm. Katt Williams warned the public about this exact pattern. He said, talented young people are taken early, put into damaging situations, and shaped in ways that leave long-term scars. According to people close to production, Usher's segment was simply too heavy to include. The details were described as extremely unsettling, even for a documentary centered on Diddy's controversies. Usher has spent decades rebuilding, protecting his image, and focusing on his music. He's an R&B legend, a global icon, and a father. Dragging him back into that chapter would have reopened wounds that never fully healed. Leaving him out wasn't about hiding facts. It was about not breaking someone all over again. And now we reach the biggest name on this list, the one that truly matters, Clive Davis. If you know the industry, you already know Clive Davis sits above Diddy. He's the real gatekeeper. Diddy didn't move without approval. Careers weren't shaped without his influence. Clive Davis helped guide legends like Whitney Houston, Alicia Keys, and countless others. He's been in the industry for over 50 years. He knows everyone, and more importantly, everyone knows him. If people talk about Diddy's gatherings being out of control, imagine what Clive Davis's rooms looked like back in the day. Diddy wasn't the boss. He was the worker. Katt Williams said it plainly. Diddy was just a worker. Who's the boss? Clive Davis. So, why did 50 Cent remove Clive Davis from a documentary? One word: fear. If Clive's name stayed in, this documentary would never have aired. Netflix wouldn't touch it. Media outlets wouldn't promote it. Streaming platforms would walk away. Clive's influence runs through record labels, media networks, streaming companies, and boardrooms. Removing him was the only way the documentary could exist. That's why Clive's absence is the most important omission of all. Everyone keeps focusing on Diddy, but Clive helped build a system that allowed Diddy to operate the way he did. Diddy learned the playbook from somewhere. Taking down Diddy means very little if the system that created him remains untouched. And that's exactly what happened. So there you have it, the 7 names removed from the Netflix Diddy documentary. Katt Williams told us this was coming. He said all lies would be exposed in 2024, but he also warned that the biggest power players would remain hidden. From Snoop Dogg to Clive Davis, this list shows how deep protection really goes. The system protects its own, always has, always will. This documentary is only the beginning. Investigations are ongoing. Lawsuits are stacking up. And this story is far from over. Now I want to hear from you. Drop a comment and tell me which name you think should have been included. Did 50 Cent make the right call protecting certain people? Or should everything have been put on the table, no matter the fallout? If you found this breakdown valuable, make sure to like, subscribe, and share. This is Scarfame, and I'll see you on the next one.